Hare Krishna. So I'm honored to be speaking today. We are having these classes in the lead up to Gaura Purnima, and Niskinchan Prabhu has kindly requested I speak on a topic. Today's topic is Haridas Thakur and the taste for the holy name. And this is a very wonderful subject matter. It actually captures the essence of the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I must admit, I feel quite unqualified to speak on this topic, especially in a community where there are so many advanced devotees who have much more realizations on this matter. But I have a habit when I'm asked to give class, I tend to absorb myself in the subject matter, and I feel I'm greatly benefited. So there's some selfish motive in me speaking today. Niskinchan Prabhu asked me to select some verse on this topic, so I've selected one verse in particular, but there's a series of verses from 103, from 99 to 103, so I'll read them so they're put into context, and then we'll come to this verse. So we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 4. The chapter is entitled Sanatana Goswami Visits the Lord. So I will read from text number 99. And then when we come to 103, we can do it together. Sanatana Goswami replied, O Haridas Thakur, who is equal to you? You are one of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, you are the most fortunate. Text 100. The mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for which he has descended, is to spread the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Now, instead of personally doing so, he is spreading it through you. 101. My dear sir, you are chanting the holy name 300,000 times daily and informing everyone of the importance of such chanting. Text 102. Some behave very well but do not preach the cult of Krishna consciousness, whereas others preach but do not behave properly. So we'll come to today's verse, 103. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. You simultaneously perform both duties in relation to the holy name by your personal behavior and by your preaching. Therefore, you are the spiritual master of the entire world, for you are the most advanced devotee in the world. Purport. Sanatana Goswami clearly defines herein the bona fide spiritual master of the world. The qualifications expressed in this connection are that one must act according to the scriptural injunctions and at the same time preach. One who does so is a bona fide spiritual master. Haridas Thakur was the ideal spiritual master because he regularly chanted on his beads a prescribed number of times. Indeed, he was chanting the holy name of the Lord 300,000 times a day. That works out to 171 rounds. Prabhupada says 16 rounds is 28,000 names. So 300,000 is 171 rounds. I did a little calculation. If we work out on an average, it takes us 2 hours to chant 16 rounds. It would have taken Haridas, if he chanted the same tempo as us, 21 hours. to chant 300,000 names of Krishna. Similarly, the members of the Krishna consciousness movement chant a minimum of 16 rounds a day, which can be done without difficulty. And at the same time, they must preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, according to the gospel of Bhagavad Gita as it is. One who does so is quite fit to become a spiritual master for the entire world. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Malitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manupustam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhube Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtai Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sanyavadi Pastichadeshtarini. So the verse again, you simultaneously perform both duties in relation to the holy name by your personal behavior and your preaching. Therefore, you are the spiritual master of the entire world, for you are the most advanced devotee in the world. I have an admission to make. When Niskinchan Prabhu asked me to speak as one of the classes for the build-up, in my mind I was preparing to speak about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Maybe something about the external reasons of why Mahaprabhu appeared, or the internal reasons. And then Niskin said he would send me the verse. And I was in India last week, so he sent me the topic, and he said, Haridas Thakur and taste for the holy name. And I was thinking to myself, I was preparing to talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this week when I got back, on Monday evening, I looked at the books again, and I was thinking, actually this is wonderful. Whoever decided that in the lead up to Gaura Purnima, these topics of Raghunath Das Goswami, Haridas Thakur, Rupa Goswami, Vallabha Bhattacharya, and so on. It's wonderful because it is said the master is glorified when the servant is glorified. And also, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we understand that essentially he is only given the 8 verses, the Shikshashtakam. But all of his other teachings, he actually gave through his devotees. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his Harinam Chintamani that through the mouth of Ramananda Rai, Mahaprabhu explained the concept of rasa. Through the mouth of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he explained the real principle of what is liberation. Through the mouth of Rupa Goswami, he explained the details of rasa. And through the mouth of Haridas Thakur, he explained the glories of the holy name. So, today's topic is the glories of the holy name, and I just wanted to explain one more thing in terms of Mahaprabhu and his teachings. It is explained that of all the incarnations, Krishna is most merciful. is most merciful. He is known as, we sing, He Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate. Krishna is an ocean of mercy. And Dina Bandhu is very dear to the fallen. And in particular, we see relative to other incarnations, Krishna showed extreme mercy. In the purport to that verse, Ahu Baki, Prabhupada uses the word, this is an example of extreme mercy. It's the very first verse. And this verse basically, Uddhava is saying, who can be more merciful than Krishna? Who gave the position of mother to Putana, who came to kill him. And Prabhupada says in the Prabhupada, this is an example of extreme mercy. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Namo Maha Vedanyaya. He's been glorified by Rupa Goswami to be the most munificent incarnation of the Lord. Most munificent. So why is that? What is it about Mahaprabhu relative to this verse that's spoken by Uddhava, where Krishna gave mercy to someone who was totally unqualified? The difference is that Mahaprabhu, he gave everything. Firstly, he gave the eligibility. Like Putana, she had some eligibility because she came as mother. But Mahaprabhu, he gave them eligibility with people with totally no eligibility. Who's got no qualifications, know nothing about religion, knew nothing about Dharma. He gave them the highest Krishna Prem. And someone may object, okay, and how did he give that eligibility? Through his teachings. But someone may object to say, oh, those teachings are very sophisticated. An ordinary person cannot understand them. To that person, Mahaprabhu says, I give you the intelligence by which you can understand. But someone may say, okay, you give me the intelligence, but I have no taste. Mahaprabhu says, I give you even the taste. So Mahaprabhu gave everything, the vessel, the nectar, and even the money to purchase the vessel. He gave everything. And Mahaprabhu came and he said, I've brought the fruits. And he called Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and Haridas Thakur. He said, now you distribute these fruits of love of Godhead. But Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita and Haridas Thakur, they said, but my Lord, you are the most capable person. You can do this without any assistance or any need from us. And then Mahaprabhu said, no. I am helpless. I am totally helpless. It is only through you that I can distribute these fruits. And that was also a very similar mood that Srila Prabhupada exhibited. Prabhupada said, I am an old man. What can I do? But my spiritual master is so merciful that he has sent you young boys and girls to help me spread this Krishna consciousness movement. And he said, that's the mercy of my spiritual master. He sent you all. And Prabhupada felt himself totally unqualified. So in the same way, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that the three main teachings or instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Jivadoya, Namaruchi, and Vaishnava Seva. Jivadoya means showing mercy to the living entities. Namaruchi means taste for the holy name. And Vaishnava Seva means service to the devotees. And this Namaruchi, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, it's the foundation of everything. And Srila Haridas Thakur was given this title of Namacharya. And what is amazing about Haridas Thakur got the highest title, Namacharya. But he came from the lowest background. The background from a Muslim family, a family of meat eaters. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately we see he was a revolutionary. Mahaprabhu gave the highest position to someone from apparently the lowest background. And he thought how one should attain taste for the holy name through Haridas Thakur. So what I would like to do for the rest of the time we have in today's class is maybe just look at different aspects of Haridas Thakur's consciousness, his life, his teachings, by which we can gain some understanding by which we can get taste for the holy name. Actually, this taste for the holy name is the real fruit of our practice in Krishna consciousness. This is what we are all aspiring for. To come to the stage of pure chanting and having taste for the holy name. And what I would like to do is just read one extract from a letter Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote, where when I read this letter, I felt this letter, it captures the true meaning of the holy name and the importance of the holy name in our spiritual lives. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is responding to one devotee, a disciple of his. And he writes, I am overjoyed to hear that your enthusiasm for chanting is increasing. As our contaminations are removed by chanting, the Lord's form, qualities and pastimes will be revealed to us by the holy name. There is no point in making a separate effort to artificially remember the Lord's form, qualities and pastimes. The Lord and His name are one and the same. This will be understood clearly when the coverings in your heart are removed. By chanting without offenses, you will personally realize that all perfections come from the holy name. Through chanting, the distinction that exists between the self and the gross and subtle bodies is gradually effaced, and one realizes one's own spiritual form. Once aware of the spiritual body, as one continues to chant, one sees the transcendental nature of the Lord's form. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual form of the living being and causes him to be attracted to the Lord's form. By service, this is the very interesting part. He says, by service to the holy name, we do not mean only the chanting of the holy name. It also includes the other duties of the chanter. If we serve the holy name with the body, mind and soul, then the direction of that service spontaneously manifests like the sun in the clear sky of the chanter's heart. What is the nature of the holy name? Eventually all these understandings spontaneously appear on the heart of one who chants the holy name. The true nature of Harinam is revealed by listening to, reading and studying the scriptures. It is unnecessary to write anything further on the subject. All these things will be revealed to you through chanting. So what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is essentially saying is that all spiritual aspirations will come through the holy name. All of our spiritual, the name, the form, the pastimes of Krishna will be manifested to us. So in that sense, the holy name becomes the life and soul of the devotee. And the devotee makes the chanting of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra his life and soul. And that is what Srila Haridas Thakur revealed. So he revealed it in various ways. One is in his mood. In what mood did Haridas Thakur chant? Then he revealed it in his faith in the holy name. And then he revealed it in various pastimes. So we'll start off firstly by the mood of Haridas Thakur. If we examine the life of Haridas Thakur, as is explained in these verses, he is considered to be the highest of all the devotees. But yet Haridas Thakur, he was most humble. It is explained that Haridas Thakur, he resided in Jagannath Puri with the Lord. And there were 3 devotees of the Lord that never entered the temple of Lord Jagannath. Who were those 3 devotees? No, it was Haridas Thakur, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami. And all 3 of Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family. But Rupa and Sanatan, through their association with the Muslims, Rupa Goswami was named Dabira Kash, and Sanatana Goswami was Sakara Malik. They even got Muslim names. So they felt themselves totally unqualified to enter. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, daily he would visit them. And daily Mahaprabhu would arrange for prasadam to be taken to, Jagannath prasadam to be taken to Haridas Thakur. So I will just read briefly from the pastime of the passing away of Haridas Thakur. What was his mood? The next day, this had happened, is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go and see Haridas Thakur every day. And he would send Mahaprasadam through Govinda. So one day, Govinda took Mahaprasadam to Haridas Thakur. But Haridas Thakur didn't want to take. He didn't want to take. He said, I have not finished my regular chanting of rounds. How can I eat? But you have brought Mahaprasadam, how can I neglect it? So he was in this dilemma. He hasn't finished his rounds, but he had to honor Mahaprasadam. So what he did, he took a little Mahaprasadam. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Haridas' place and inquired from him. He said, Haridas, are you not well? And Haridas offered his obeisances and he said, My Lord, my body is all right, but my mind and intelligence are not well. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, can you ascertain what is your disease? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking Haridas, what is your disease? Do you know? And what does Haridas say? He says, yes, my Lord, my disease is that I cannot complete my rounds. And Prabhupada gives a very interesting purport there. He says, if one cannot complete the fixed number of rounds he is assigned, he should be considered in a disease condition of spiritual life. One who cannot complete one's rounds, one should consider oneself as diseased. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Haridas Thakur, you have become old now. Actually, Haridas Thakur was 34 years senior to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 34 years. And Lord Nityananda was 12 years senior to Mahaprabhu. He said, you are already liberated, so cut down on your rounds. And Haridas, and he said, in your role in this incarnation to deliver the people in general, you have sufficiently preached the glories of the holy name. The Lord concluded, now therefore please reduce the fixed number of rounds. And what was Haridas's reply? He said, I was born in an inferior family, and my body is most abominable. I always engage in low work, therefore I am the lowest, most condemned of men. I am unseeable and untouchable, but you have accepted me as your servant. This means that you have delivered me from a hellish condition and raised me to the Vaikuntha platform. Then he goes on to say, I am an insignificant insect. What is the loss of if an insignificant insect dies? So in this way, Haridas Thakur, although he was on the highest platform, he was always exhibiting the symptoms of being very fallen. And it is said that Haridas Thakur, although he used to chant 300,000 names, he used to always beg the Lord. And this is an important example for our own spiritual lives. Recently I was listening to a very nice class by Sutapa Prabhu. And one devotee was saying that it's difficult to chant. Because when I chant, I think about my duties as a father. I think of my duties as an employee. I think of my duties as a husband. He said, what should be my mood when I chant? And Sutapa Prabhu said, yes, we all have these different identities. Identities as child, parent, husband. And when we chant, these responsibilities of these different identities come in our mind. So Sutapa Prabhu said, when we chant, we need to give up all of these other identities and take on one identity only. And what is that identity? The identity of a beggar. When we chant, what is our identity? Not a parent, not a worker, not a husband, not a child. Our only identity is we are beggars. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshmana ki jai. We are beggars. We are begging Krishna to engage us in his devotional service. So Haridas Thakur, he demonstrated this aspect of how to chant, and he exemplified Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction of Trinadipi Sunichena Tarorapi Suishnena Amaninena Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. So Haridas Thakur, he exemplified that mode. The second aspect of Haridas Thakur's character or his teachings was his faith in the holy name. Once someone asked Srila Prabhupada, what does it mean to have faith in the holy name? What does faith in the holy name essentially mean? Can someone vouch for some answer? What does faith in the holy name mean? It delivers what it says it delivers. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Sorry. Gives us protection. Okay. Yes, that is the answer. You wanted to say something, Govinda Prabhu? Okay. It's all the good answers, but Srila Prabhupada explained faith in the holy name means the complete conviction that Krishna and his holy name are non-different. We have this complete conviction that when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is present. So Haridas Thakur, he demonstrated this principle. And there are many pastimes, and the famous pastime is the one we were reading currently during the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita class, is the pastime where Haridas Thakur was once in the assembly, in the house or the residence of Iranya and Govardhan Majumardhan. And the verse was quoted from Srila Rupa Goswami's Pajavali. And that verse reads, "As the rising sun immediately dissipates all the world's darkness, which is deep like an ocean, so the holy name of the Lord, if chanted once without offenses, dissipates all the reactions of a living being's sinful life. All glory is to that holy name of the Lord, which is auspicious for the entire world." So Haridas Thakur was requested in the assembly to explain the meaning of this verse. And Haridas Thakur's explanation, he said, "Oh, learned scholars." First he requested the other scholars to explain it. And they said, "No, you explain it, Haridas." And then he said, "With the first glimpse, as the sun begins to rise, even before it is visible, it dissipates the darkness of night. With the first glimpse of sunlight, fear of thieves, ghosts, and demons immediately disappears. And when the sun is actually visible, everything is manifest, and everyone begins performing his regular religious activities and regular principles. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the Lord's holy name is awakened dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. And when one chants the holy names of the Lord offensively, one awakens to service in ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. Liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of the awakening of the offenseless chanting of the holy name." So, this metaphor that Srila Rupa Goswami has used, that when you see the sun rise, immediately that first glimpses of the sun, it dissipates the darkness. So Haridas Thakur was explaining that the first glimpse, which he called namabhas, offenseless chanting, that immediately can give one liberation. Then there was one person in the assembly, Gopal Chakravarti. He took exception to Haridas Thakur's explanation. He said, "This is an exaggeration. How just by the rays or just by the namabhas one can attain the stage of liberation? This is an exaggeration." And he said, "If this is true, I will cut off my nose." And Haridas Thakur replied, "If this is not true, I will cut off my own nose." So Haridas Thakur had this firm faith that the holy name of Krishna is non-different. And Gopal Chakravarti what happened to him? His nose fell off through leprosy. And then there is the pastime of Haridas Thakur being beaten. Some of the envious Brahmins went and complained to the Qazi that this person from a Muslim background, he is chanting Hare Krishna and he is pretending. He should be punished. So the Qazi called Haridas. And when he saw Haridas, immediately he was greatly surprised because he was so beautiful. He was so beautiful. And that the Qazi said, you are a Muslim. You have given up your religion and you are chanting, repeating this name. Why don't you give up this chanting and take to your Muslim religion again? And Haridas Thakur said, no. Then the Qazi said, we will beat you to death if you don't give up your chanting and take to your ways of being a Muslim. And Haridas Thakur said, I don't care. I don't care. Nothing can stop me from chanting. And because of this, Haridas Thakur was beaten through 21 marketplaces. Very, very severely. But he would still not give up the chanting. And probably the most dramatic pastime of Haridas Thakur was the allurement he faced. First by a beautiful prostitute, and then secondly by Maya Devi herself. It is explained, most of us know this pastime, but very briefly, Ramachandra Khan was envious of Haridas Thakur and his glories, and he decided to make a plan to make Haridas Thakur fall down. And then he called the most beautiful prostitute and he told her, I want you to go and entice Haridas. And I will send a constable with you. And once Haridas falls down, the constable will arrest him. So this beautiful prostitute went to Haridas in the middle of the night. And she, dressed very beautifully, very enticingly. And she said, Haridas, you are such a handsome young man. I desire to enjoy with you. And Haridas Thakur, he said, yeah, sure. I'll fulfill your desire. But just give me a little time. I've taken this vow to chant this fixed number of rounds. As soon as I finished, surely I will fulfill your desire. So he made her sit down next to the tulsi plant and he started to chant. And whole night she listened to him chanting. And then it got bright, daytime. And then she decided she had to go. So she went to Ramachandra Khan and she said, he's promised he's going to enjoy with me. Tomorrow, surely, Haridas would fall down. So the next day she went to Haridas. And the same thing happened. He said, I have to finish my rounds, but surely I will fulfill your desire. And he was chanting. And again, the same thing happened. The night passed. And after the third night, listening to Haridas Thakur, she became purified. And she revealed to Haridas that what was the whole scheme of Ramachandra Khan. And Haridas Thakur said, I knew from the outset what was the plan. But I stayed here simply to deliver you. And she asked to be Haridas's disciple, and she became a very great Vaishnavi. And a very similar incident took place with Maya Devi herself. Haridas Thakur used to chant in the cave, and one beautiful night, it's explained with the moon shimmering over the Ganges, she appeared in a very beautiful effulgent form, with very beautiful scented perfume. And she tried to entice Haridas to enjoy with her. But again, she could not deviate Haridas, and she became converted. And it is explained that Maya Devi herself had no power in the presence of Haridas. And we can see from this example of Haridas the determination, the resolution one should have. That the strongest, the most powerful object of distraction that can come in front of one was able to be overcome by Haridas. Sometimes we chant, just one ping, one notification on our phone, it distracts us. Oh, we need to see what is that notification? The simplest of things distracts us. But Haridas, the most powerful distraction, couldn't disturb him. So the lesson we can learn from this is one should have this determination not to be distracted and to be fixed very much in this goal of chanting our 16 rounds. There was much more to say about Haridas Thakur in his life, but its time has run out. The one thing I did want to say is, and it's in connection with what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had written. Generally, most of us have the impression that Haridas Thakur was a Bhajananandi. He used to sit and chant whole day. But if you read the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see that Haridas Thakur was very much in the forefront of the preaching mission. It is explained that traditionally Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have Harinam Sankirtan every night. And he would break his devotees up into 3 groups. And each group had 21 men. 4 used to play mridanga, 1 used to lead, and 16 used to play kartals. And there used to be a maiden dancer. And in one of the groups, the main dancer was Haridas Thakur. So he was very much in the forefront. Although he used to do his japa, he was doing congregational chanting of the holy names. And it is explained that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his Sankirtan teams. And who was the chief team? Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. They used to go door to door. And the famous pastime was, in their door-to-door experience, was the pastimes of Jagai and Madai. So we can see in Haridas Thakur, both is there. The element of chanting is japa. But then also at the same time is to go out and propagate and to preach the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'll stop there. I don't know if there's any questions. We'll take any questions or comments.